Welcome back, everyone, to the 398th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, September 16th, 2021. Well, Mr. Kesh, are you ready to begin the second part of today's show?
Yes, willing and able. As part of your advertising and promotion, if you go to the store of the Keshe Foundation today has launched 3 new products, 4 new that you will see. As we promised you, we are transferring the knowledge into the capability to be used, and a lot of research and development has been done. We're running 2 new clinical trials. In a way, clinic for us to learn more. As we promised, the fungus GANs has been released today by the Keshe Foundation manufacturing, and this allows us to run trials on funguses in any shape or form that you would like to try, and let us know how you see it, fungus on the wall, fungus anywhere, and this will allow us to understand the totality of the knowledge. You have to understand why we launched this fungus, what we call GANs process. A fungus is very much the same as a virus. The success we saw with Corona and the trials we ran with COP1, COP2, Corona takes the energy from the environment of the body, but in interaction, it manifests itself in shape what we've seen. A fungus is the same process. It has already manifested itself using the energy of the environment. This is why it's different than microbes. In a way, has an amino acid base to start with, but it doesn't root itself. It takes energy from environment, exactly what the virus does. And this is why we run this trial. We run this trial on a plasma technology and not on any other basis, in a way to see if we can stop a fungus to take energy from its environment, exactly the way we done with the virus. Then we have achieved a new breakthrough in science and technology. This has been tested. You have to understand, this is not something digestible. It is the liquid of the GANs to come in touch with what we call the water of the GANs, with any surface it could be. And we have what we call test trials done in China laboratories on what we call animals to confirm that it's safe for skin touch. And we have received the 100% okay. So now we are putting in the test trial with all of you to test it. In a way, the difference between a virus and a fungus is that the fungus is manifested energy in connection with the protein, where the virus is the energy which attaches itself to life which is already has taken shape in an environment of whatever it could be. This fungus could be on anywhere, on any surface. It could become part of any structure, because now you use it, you void it of receiving energy. This is what we want to find out. When you use this fungus mixture, you always have to add a salt mixture to it. It needs 5 to 10% salt. If you have the salt from the gases you made, add to it, you'll find it becomes much more effective. Then at the same time, you can create a condition that in a way you starve the fungus from growing. It can be there, but you can control it, and then you will see the change. With this process, we have launched the second product, which is for cleaning. In a way, for the first time, we release specific materials that when you use the gases in the bathroom, on cleaning the table, you'll find there is not much dust as it used to be before. There is not much dirty spaces as it used to be before, because now the energy field repels. You find Once you clean, the surface stays disinfected in a way for a long time. We reckon over 75% of bacteria and microbes can be eliminated from this process for a longer time. You don't need the frequency. At the same time, the more you use, the energy of it becomes part of the energy of the room, and it will change a lot of things around you. The cleaning material, when, for example, you use it in the bathroom to wash the sink or the taps, you will see the difference. You feel the difference. At the same time, you're always in the environment of it. When you wash the walls of your bath with it, you walk into the environment which is already purified all the time for a long time. Then we want to learn from you. We want you to report back to us what you see on these cases, on both of them. And then we build up the bigger processes. We are not looking for miracles. We are looking for a proof of the knowledge to you, not to us. At the same time, Keshe Foundation has released a radical technology today, which is for water disinfectant. Many of you, we call it a pure water. This new product is a powder. You can carry it anywhere with you. You travel to a country, you are not sure if the water is safe or not to drink. You go for camping and picnic, you can't take bottles of water with you. You carry what we call the new powder. You just mix it in the water, let it settle, and 1/3 of the top becomes good enough for what I call be pure enough to clean up 75% of the most of the bacteria and whatever it could be. Make sure every time you use the liquid, after use, when you finish traveling, whatever, wash it once or twice to get anything which might have come into it out, and you can dry it for the next time. It can stay in a liquid, but we prefer you to keep it as it is in its box, dry, and use it whenever. Even if you live at home, mix it. If you got a problem with the calcium in the water, see how much of the calcium can be extracted. Use it on a continuous basis and educate us. You have an email, respond back with it, and then you will see what the new conditions are. These are how we're bringing the technology to be in the hand of everyday use. We are not looking at the prices. The research and development costs a lot. But at the same time, in a coming time, when the factories go into operation, you will see the extension and expansion of what I call the knowledge. Try to use this, try to explain it to us. If you come in touch with the gases, always, you know the procedure. Do not inhale them, do not drink them, and try to be safe to use them on the, what you call, appropriate way of the teachings for past times we have taught. As you've seen today, we welcome for the first time the Keshe Foundation Australia with the books they have and what they do. And in that process, we will bring everything together. We bring all the Keshe Foundations around the world into the process of the teaching, in the process of the understanding of the knowledge. And when you go on website to buy, these are the products coming from Keshe Foundation Australia. Soon we'll receive Keshe Foundation product on a subsidiary of the Mark Ray, which is by contractual intellectual right, will produce the materials of the Keshe Foundation in a new way for South American continent. You can go to the Keshe Foundation Mexico in a very short time and buy products at the rates of the South American rates. We are hoping to add a Romanian factory to the Keshe Foundation package in a short time. And one of the first enhancement unit centers in Romania will be open in a coming time. Keshe Foundation is committed to open most of enhancement centers the fourth quarter of this year around the world. And at the same time, we work to open more enhancement centers with collaboration of the people with the knowledge seekers or organizations who would like to see this development going further. You got to realize we are part of an international organization, which you are part of it. And this way we are reaching more and more. We have brought you the new books, which has been there. Rick, you have this new launch of the book. As we told you, we have brought in promoters for the Keshe Foundation, and they have managed to bring the Keshe Foundation in what you see in this promotion, which has been done internationally. Would you like to play it, please?
11. We mean it. Yes. 11 weeks. Dr. Mehran Kavakoli Keshe, and the Structure of the Light, 11 weeks number 1. The Structure of the Light. Supported by On Time Books.
The promoters we have brought in are pushing the Keshe Foundation books in bookstores and right across Amazon. This is the 11 weeks number 1 in Amazon in the scientific section. The same has been with the others, and the book number 3 will be launched further. And
Mr. Keshe, I'll just interrupt here. You can see this is the On Time Books website. They're what they call success stories. We see the Structure of the Light as bestseller on Amazon, #1 bestseller in light physics, #1 bestseller in solid state physics, and in the Universal Order of Creation of Matters, top 100 in the Kindle Amazon store, #1 in industrial and technical chemistry, #4 in gravity physics, and #5 in nuclear physics. I believe that's for the Amazon UK or Britain statistics.
The new data will come on very soon. The what we call the Corona book has gone on sale, and sometime this week the book number 3 will be launched through Amazon, and then you can find it around the bookshops as a hard copy in UK, in Canada, and other Spanish-speaking countries. We have told you we bring the Keshe Foundation into a new dimension, and as you've seen, we bring professionals to do the job and to bring the position for spreading the knowledge. The process is very simple. We invest in sharing knowledge.
The Origin of the Universe, the 3rd book of Dr. Keshe's trilogy, will be available very soon. Supported by On Time Books.
And thank you very much, Rick. The
Sorry,
books.
I thought I'd throw that in there as kind of a cute video.
Yes, we brought in a specialist to promote. You will see the same thing with the Keshe Foundation products. Keshe Foundation has entered, as I said, growing into another dimension, and it takes time. There is one thing which we have to announce, but in a way is what has been part of the structure of the Keshe Foundation, and many of you have been around it. We especially mention it, but we don't go into it any further. Many of you went through the process of Markray 3 years ago, and Markray was blocked and stopped by the instruction of the White House and the rest of it. Markray, as of yesterday, has been released in the American stock market. I have resigned as a CEO, and we have appointed ourselves to be as a majority controlling shareholders, and the new CEO of the Keshe Foundation, what we call headquarters in Holland, has become totally independent of the Markray. And we do not interfere in work, but now you will see through agreements, as is stated in the biography of the stock market, we have given intellectual rights for Markray and Mexico to produce what we call products and the Keshe Foundation technology in United States and America, and what we call American continent. We welcome the new CEO, and we thank him for everything he's done for the foundation. But he is independent, and he is part of the heading the market into new territories. And as the provider of technology, we support the technology to be developed by setting factories financed by the Keshe Foundation according to the agreements which we have reached and signed. And we welcome a new life for Mark Ray in the American stock market. On the other hand, in the coming couple of weeks, we will launch a new product, which is for arthritis. This product will use the latest technology, will be marketed around about between 3,000 to 5,000 euro. It is not sold, it's given to you, and it has to be returned back to us. It's a loan back agreement. You use it, you report it. It's a clinical trial objective internationally. And when you use it, when you see the eradication of the what we call arthritis, you return the system back to us. It has to be returned to us. And then we collect the data from it, what we need to know, how it's been performed, then we can improve the system. If many of you suffer from a very bad arthritis, this new system could help you, could help to teach us. It's a clinical, you still sign documents that you understand, you enter a clinical phase, and the data will be open. The Keshe Foundation information data in the background, we collect all the data, and then in the coming weeks and months, we release more and more. We see a lot with the first clinical trial with the glasses. We thank you very much. We need more people to participate in it, and let us know how it feels, what it brings, and gradually on the back of it, we understand the process of the soul. As I said, join us on the 2nd and 3rd of October in Linz in Austria for the opening. We have left it totally open. You can walk in, just register who you are, and enjoy the time. We don't expect many people because of the new restriction on Corona, but a lot of people have a problem to come in and then go back out. And we opening it, we have appointed a new person in charge of the exhibition who will promote it across the world through one of the old knowledge seekers who has now taken responsibility of promoting the exhibition worldwide. We have not released any pictures of the exhibition center, the new center. We try to do it by next week, and we hope we receive the first international guests and dignitaries at the center from next Saturday onwards. Prior to the opening, many people have decided to be part of and see it before the world sees it. We have ambassadors and world financial leaders who come to the center on a sporadic basis to see what they do. And we have seen response by the international chain stores who have approached us to put the products of Keshe Foundation in the stores. We work very hard. The Keshe Foundation team is becoming more and more professional in the background, and we see a massive development in the Keshe Foundation China with the hard work of the whole Keshe Foundation team. Wang Lin as head of the Keshe Foundation China, Chao as the head of the sales, Chan Lin, who is literally running the factory single-handed, as the others concentrating, and with the Xiaojin, who's supporting on the whole development of the agriculture. We are taking a very direct route in the agricultural work of the China, and again, we thank the national security and the CPC for supporting us, and our response to your recent approach is positive. We would like and we enjoy working with the Chinese authorities and governments and support you in the new space development and agriculture as you decided to join us for development. The same will go with the Americans, and we welcome the new Russian team who are setting up factories, also trying to start the factories in Russia for the Keshe Foundation. We support you the same, and we welcome the new teams of the research centers that we are setting up around the world in different countries as part of the Keshe Foundation development. We are spreading very rapidly, and thanks to you, knowledge seekers, keeping the knowledge freely has brought us, as I said, we are changing course. Keshe Foundation International is truly one nation and is all to do with what you are doing. We are just teaching and you're spreading the knowledge. Join us in WINS and see what the new technologies and old technology, what brought us to here and where we're going with what is coming out. As I said, we see the first two new enhancement units, the vertical and the horizontal, which both the vertical and the horizontal in conjunction with the body enhancement unit will create new conditions for space travel. And in that process, we go further in the coming time. What we call has been the problems with open heart surgeries will become no problem. The glasses and what has been the prelude to the vision units will come and is available to many of you. We see a lot of positive developments, and we thank especially the German groups who are supporting us in every aspect, in every way. We thank the huge support we receive from the German knowledge seekers in every direction, and the Austrian knowledge seekers who are supporting to make sure Austria becomes the center of the totality of the presentation of the knowledge. It is a collaborative, collective work, and we need more people to participate. We have received a sudden news by and through one of the old knowledge seekers of the Keshe Foundation. This news will stay in the background till national securities and governmental securities find an answer to why and how 3 murders has happened around the Keshe Foundation. We keep this very silent, and then in due course, we bring to open what has happened in past 4 years, ending with the murder of 3 people of very close to knowledge seekers of the Keshe Foundation, specifically incited by 2 national security of 2 nations. This is at the moment is under investigation by Keshe Foundation National and International Securities, is under investigation by 2 other national securities, and then we release the knowledge. It will shock many of you. It shock you beyond understanding of even going back to the murder of Fabio. We are keeping very silent, but it might leak into press. We are keeping it away from it till we have our own data, we have our own intelligence, and the national security of 2 nations confirm the process. One of the reasons has been directly to discredit Keshe Foundation, paid by CIA, and now we have the proof. And we have a recording of it by proof. And this will bring a heavy burden on our negotiation with the American government and the opening of the Arizona. When intelligence organizations are involved in murder, especially for the scientific organizations, it has to be answered to internationally. We will release a full detail in due course, but we inform the knowledge seekers to understand 3 of those who have been close to the Keshe Foundation have been murdered by the instruction of the intelligence organizations, and we have the recording and proof of it. And now it has to become that the American government has to respond why is involved in murdering people close to the technology. All details will be released, and it has saddened me for past 2 weeks, this information, till we could bring it in. And once we have our full package from Keshe Foundation International Securities, then we'll release it in public. And it'll be a very big problem for the American government to say how deliberately has forced on the media to discredit Keshe Foundation by giving green cards to those who do. We thank you for all your support, and it shows green card has a bigger stain on it than you could ever imagine. Going back to the teaching, we will start to go back in understanding this technology in a deeper way, and in understanding the technology in how you understand, to try to help you to understand more of it. What I would like to do is to ask you all to take a minute of silence for the 3 people who have been affected with their souls by the action of the American intelligence and another nation. And I give from my soul for their elevation. Thank you very much, Rick. If you have any questions, we can answer.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh. We can start with the question from YouTube, from God's Eye View. Mr. Kesh keeps saying, move away from physicality. So does that mean we need to make Magravs systems with thoughts and emotions? If not, how do we move away from physicality?
You got to realize this is a catch-22, especially if you listen to the teaching of today. We tell you to move away from physicality, not in a way not to get rid of it, but on the other hand, we teach you, it's today's teaching, when you reach the position of our pleasure, how you manifest yourself in a dimension of physicality. The teaching of to move away from physicality, it means try to understand more about the energies within your structure, the plasma of life. The plasma of what this physicality creates, we call the soul of physicality or the soul of the man. The soul and the spirit. The spirit is the soul of physicality. The soul is what is within us. Listen to the Bible. It says, the Holy Spirit. It means the soul of the physicality. When we transfer the energies into the dimension of physicality. And then you understand the total structure. Move away from the physicality to understand the energies, that if you understand the energies, the plasma of life, how you can move it as a light into another dimension, and then again manifest yourself in the dimension of physicality in a time of and space and position. It's not that we say move away from physicality, move away from depending on it for everything, go more towards understanding the fields which interact with it, understand the life, understand how you can transmute between the two, and then use it to move to position. If you want to move, become the light. And then in the position you become light, where are you going to go? What's the use of becoming the light? You can't see anything, you're just going as fast as you can across the universe. Then, in that position you came, now you have to go to the teaching of today to convert into inertia to manifest yourself in the matter state if you want in another place. We tell you in one place to move away from physicality, and I say if you want to become physical, do it this way. It's to understand the balance. It's to understand the need. It's to understand the position. You are sleeping in bed and the house is on fire. Up to now, you died in the bed, you burned in the house. If you learn it, you transmute through the soul outside and watch the house burning. You don't die in it. The planet Earth gets hit by a meteorite on its way. You don't need to sit here at the whole thing finished. You move to moon instantaneously. You transmute between the two. Your sun is on planet Zeus. You want to go and see 100 years on the way. No, instantaneous. Manifest yourself to your son there. I'm here, my love. I'm here to love you. There is a confusion in our teaching, and this is confusion by you, not by us. We set our course with a book number 1, 2, and 3 from the beginning of the teaching. Now we explain to you what is in book number 1, 2, and 3. Understand how you change matter to energy. Understand how you gather that energy as a plasma. Understand how you transfer that energy. And then how you manifest it in another point in dimension of physicality. We are not an ostrich if they tell us if you're a camel, as you know, the Arabs call it the camel bird. What do? I'm a bird, and when you say, why don't you fly? I'm a camel. No, you have to understand when to be a camel and when to be the bird, and how it fits, where it fits. As they say, where it fits, it sets. Understand the process. Understand the reason of the knowledge. Up to now, it was a bit blurred. Now, especially from today's teaching and past 2 or 3 weeks, it's very clear. You want to see your child in Tehran and he's in New York. What do? You walk. You get your package. You get on the back of a donkey to go. Take you about a year. Or you get the package, you get a plane, you're there in 10 hours or 15 hours. Or you have learned to do the travel with the spaceship, 5 minutes. This is what I told the Americans in 2012 negotiation in Brussels. I said, they cross your country many times, you don't have the tools to detect us, so we don't exist. But when we wanted to show you how we do, we destroyed your base in Iraq in no time, you just watched it. Because now you can travel with the speeds without detection. And then you want to go to planet Zeus. Do you want to spend 200 years to go in this body call to put you in a sleep and wake you up? My God, you have a longer sleep. You need more chemicals to keep you asleep than actually worth the whole body to carry you. Now you have a knowledge to go. You choose. Is the illusion of how you want to elude yourself. To go with a donkey, to get to the sun, to go with an aircraft, to go with a spaceship, or to go with a soul. Now you have a 4th option. And this is the knowledge. The knowledge you are not aware of. Now you've seen it. If I've told you these things 20 years ago, you would have shot me. The guy is blah, blah. Now you've done it. You've seen how you came through energy over the corona. Now you see today in new products how to handle funguses. Now you understand the difference. Now you see how to create energies. Now you will see we still go as the understanding of the nations and governments and the people go. The first Magraph system factory is getting set up in Iran this week. We provide the technology. They want 30%, 40% saving. Oh, so we do. In Arizona, we want to teach to reach the position of changing the vision of the man. You are blind, you can see. You have a problem with your eyesight, use the enhancement vision units, change. The knowledge is the same, but the thing is, we know how to manipulate it. You're just learning about the knowledge. Then when you manipulate it, most probably you see more beauties, more knowledge. I was talking to Van Lieden yesterday. The agriculture group in China could not believe. They tested the material. Wang Lin, are you in the line? You can explain. Do we have Wang Lin from China? Yes, she's there. Wang Lin, can you open your microphone? Well, she's most probably asleep or on the way somewhere else. If she comes online, you explain to her the organization has tested the material for a couple of months and they said they've never seen such a vegetables, such a change. And they would like to do more of it. Wang Lin, are you in the background? You're on the panel, but your microphone is not open. If she comes on, hopefully we'll talk to her. This is the transfer of technology and knowledge to create more trust, more elevation of the soul, and then conversion from one thing to another. Matter to energy, transmuted energy to matter. Any other question?
Yes, Mr. Kesh, we had a question about the eyes from Harnu in the YouTube.
From what? From where?
From Harnu in the YouTube. Can you ask Mr. Kesh if the GANS vial from the replication unit can be used as eye drops?
No.
Those are sealed units to be sealed
No.
vials to be used in the replication unit, correct?
No. Do not use it.
Okay, and it also asks what GANS combinations are brain friendly? Not sure if you want to get into that,
I
or
prefer not to get into there.
bit of a delicate subject.
It's a
brain
very delicate
surgery online.
Yeah.
Okay, there has been some previous teachings about that. We can probably say that, and there's ways of finding out, I suppose. I'd like to go ahead with, we have a hand up here. Alexandre, could you go ahead, please?
Bom dia, Rick. Bom dia, Mr. Kesh. Bom dia, Rafael.
Yeah.
É Alexandre de
Rafael,
Brasil.
can you wait 1 second for Rafael to come up? Is Rafael with us? Or do we have John with us who can translate?
Not seeing Raphael here. See, we have John Wells. If you could go ahead, John, if you're there, available.
Posso fazer a pergunta, Rafael?
Oh, there's Raphael. We can let him do it. So not sure if John is ready right now. Raphael, can you go ahead?
Yeah, I'm trying to open my microphone.
Okay, I'm here. Hello?
Ok.
Fine, you take over, Rafael.
Pode
Sim,
falar,
entendi.
Alexandre, por favor.
O,
Se puder ser sucinto na pergunta, Alexandre, te agradeço. Você está com eco aí, Alexandre. Se você puder desligar um dos seus áudios. I'm just telling Alexandre he's with an echo. Ok, pode prosseguir, Alexandre, por favor.
Rafael, minha pergunta é o seguinte: o senhor, Mr. Kesh estava explicando que em breve estaremos fazendo essas viagens, né, para outros locais, com o objetivo, inclusive, de estar ensinando. E a minha pergunta em cima disso, né, como a gente vai poder estar ensinando isso, como nós vamos comunicar, como esses seres que existem no local e o que a gente vai acabar ensinando para eles?
Okay, so the question for Alexandre is about what you're teaching today, Mr. Kesh, about we are going to other place to teach other beings. So the question is, how can we teach those beings and what we will teach to those beings?
You will know when you arrive and the time and position and destination. In a way, you teach the correct ethos of Zoroastrian and Mitra. In a way, you ingrain it in their souls, not through the voice, through the ears. The teaching of the man in the space will be through the knowledge of the soul, which is gained through the, what I call, troublesome of the time and place. And this is the process that we will learn, all of us, that our teaching, the same as what we see as a time and a place, will be the same in the new destination and time. And we will learn to teach through our soul, not through the word and physicality. The men of planet Zeus do not know English or German. The men of planet Zeus will only understand the communication of the knowledge through the emotion of the soul. So don't worry about it. Your soul knows what to teach and how they will take the structure and the way to work.
Ok, obrigado.
Thank you very much.
E
I know.
posso fazer mais uma? Perdão.
I know Rafael is translating simultaneously, so we don't need to wait for the English translation to Portuguese. Carry on.
Yes. Alexandre would like to know if he can have one more question.
Yes.
Sim, pode prosseguir, Alexandre.
Existe tanto realmente para nós ensinar e a situação ainda que vivemos aqui no planeta Terra, que existem pessoas com muita dificuldade de entender e compreender as coisas tão simples e básicas. Nessa condição, isso demoraria muito, teríamos que elevar primeiro o nível aqui do planeta Terra, antes que a gente consiga fazer, transmitir, né, esse amor à humanidade de qualquer espaço e tempo.
Second question of Alexandre is about he said about the situation. He's very worried about the situation of most part of people here in this planet that have a lot of difficulty to learn even simple things. So the question is, do we need first to elevate ourselves here in this planet to try to start to learn something to others? And how will be this process of elevation in this planet?
It is very interesting. We were looking at you have not seen this recording. This is a recording taken in the orphanage in Tehran about 3 weeks ago. Azar was there. And you look at the video today, and we look at the video compared to a year and a half ago when knowledge seekers went to the orphanage. And I explained that to some of our doctors who we are analyzing everything. When we look at the videos from a year and a half ago, we see every bed is full with children. When we look at the video 2 weeks ago, we see a number of the beds are empty, but you see the children running around and playing. And the head of the organization, in a short interview, he tells you that the use of the Pampers has changed and a lot of things in the center has changed. We haven't done anything in the center. We introduced the technology in a very rapid, free way that not only protected the children and the staff, as he sells in other centers of the run by the same organization, the other orphanages, they have had up to 80% corona and deaths in their orphanages. This orphanage, from the beginning of the corona, has had no infection, not only the children, but not even the staff. And he's very proud of it. But the beauty of it is, we transfer the energy to the soul of the children, and they become alert, and they become wise, and they do not want to be wearing Pampers anymore. And they have matured both in soul and physicality. We grew the brain and we grew the soul, and they become respectful for themselves. You have to understand, a child may not talk to you because he's handicapped, but he feels the shame of getting wet when he's in there and he has no control. Now he has dignity back. He understands it. In the next phase, thanks to the knowledge seekers of Iran and thanks to our researchers, we have delivered 2 new units, which now we transfer the energy of the plasma directly to the children with the supervision of the doctors and everybody in the hospital, in their orphanage. And we want to see how these children will change. And we are monitoring it. We do it in 3 months, and we see those children who were selected to use the new breathing system, how much they grow in their soul. That it will reflect in the maturity of their physicality. And would they become, through the introduction of this new technology, much more elevated than most of the knowledge seekers who've been around the Keshe Foundation for years? 100% they will. And the beauty of it is, because these children have been through the process and it's part of their memory, when they recover fully, they become the ambassadors of the new knowledge because they recovered through it, they understand it, and will teach them to go to the other orphanages around the world to teach from Iran to the others. We will see a shrinkage in the number of children kept in orphanages as handicaps, because we've done it in Iran. We are not doing it in Iran. There are 100 children. We are monitoring how many of them will start getting educated instead of being in orphanage bed cages for the rest of their lives. At the beginning of this video will be released. It's already completely done by Youssef and Azar. And in due course, we release it. Not many children should have autism and families to suffer with it. Now, many children should suffer with all the brain damages through the birth that the parents leave them in front of the churches and the orphanages, as we've seen for centuries. We don't change the physicality. We elevate the soul through the fields directly, that the soul changes the physicality. And this is what a man of the matter interest will say. We use this to guide you. In a man of the knowledge of God like me, we understand, we elevate the soul, that the soul changes the physicality. New dimension, new physicality. And then we understand all of us has the capability to elevate the soul. But we have to find out what is needed to be elevated. What is needed to be understood. When I look at this 5 or 10 minutes of video from the orphanage, which is done by the Knowledge Center of the Keshe Foundation, and as Azar was in Tehran in the past couple of weeks, she's the translator. She's done a good translation, but not exactly the way the gentleman expresses the true emotion of the Iranian language, the Farsi language. Then we see the beauty of it. You look at the child walking and talking, and I see how I have elevated the soul. And the knowledge seekers who work, they have to go to the government to ask from the Ministry of Health to give them permission to use the latest systems developed by Iran in breathing system to be given to the Keshe Foundation for the orphanage. And they allowed us 3 units to be used. And we paid for it. And the system now is changing people. Azar, is Azar on the line? Do you see anywhere? She's on the line. Rick? Is Azar on the
Yeah, I just
panelist?
allowed her to talk there if she's
Yeah.
able.
Good
Go ahead,
morning.
Azar.
Good morning, Mr. Cash.
Hello, Azar
Yes,
Jan.
yes,
Would you like to explain to us what you saw in the orphanage? You went there with
yes,
a team, and how it
yes.
affected the manufacturers team when they came there.
Yes, when Mehdi started this with this orphanage, when COVID started in Iran, they just delivered the GANS Cup 1 and Cup 2 because of the COVID. But what has happened, it had happened not only with the COVID, but many children started to become more aware of the consciousness and situation, and they don't use Pampers anymore. As you saw in the video, a lot of them, I was standing in front of the room and they asked me to come in. So I went in and they were on top of me, were sitting and they're playing with the phone and everything. They became so, a lot of them just normal kids now. As you saw in the video, we had a room of only maybe 10 to 20 people who are still not functioning, they're in bed. So the 2 units we bought to start breathing with the new combination of gases is for them to, the brain start to restore itself. And we're hoping that in a few months, we're gonna get a new report. But these children, they're totally different. They're so playful, they're very aware, they're ready for next step of their life. Before they were mostly, everybody was in bed with using Pampers, not the way they look now. It was amazing. Mehdi was talking about when he started going there, it wasn't something like this. And on top of it, the whole staff, the whole people who worked there, none of them got sick with COVID. And most of the, as you saw in the video, most of the orphanages in Iran, they had some fatality with COVID, but this is the only center in Iran that single-handedly has no cases of COVID, and on top of it, the children are flowering so beautifully, the normal children. And actually one of them was so amazing. He was helping with the unit for other kids because he was just totally normal child. And it's amazing once you see the video, you see the effect of the gases on this in this center. The owner of the person who takes care of the center, he's a very gentle and kind man, and he does everything in his power to. He puts from his own life to, because these centers usually are not funded by anybody. Only people who care for children, they fund these places. And this guy single-handedly take care of these children, and these children are picked up from anywhere. They have no parents, they have no one. So this gentleman just put his life taking care of these children. And then I was very grateful to be part of it, because when you go there, and sometimes I feel like just being there, coming back, I was so energetic because I felt I was part of something so much bigger. And then you realize when you become part of something like this, when you go to these places, when you start to help, you get so much back, which you cannot explain with words, because just being there. I came back, we started in the morning, went to the office, and then we started going there. It took about 1.5 hours driving. And we got there, by the time we got home, you were supposed to be exhausted, but I wasn't exhausted. Actually, I was rejuvenated just being part of it.
Thank you very much. This is the way, what Azar says, we sit in the physicality, but we know we touch the soul, and it's the elevation of the soul. And you got to realize, to us, is one child walking off cage of the bed, which we saw months ago. But the implication of it is a man on his own with the integrity and dignity not to be in institutes for the rest of his life. Most probably in a very near future, when we start educating them, because we asked the centers to start the process of educating these children, he'll become a father. Then he becomes source of joy and the pleasure of another soul. And this is what the new technology is about, to bring a fundamental change. And to understand the change is not just you got somebody walking, is how you manage to create that walking. And as we said, they say they want clinical trials. We have 100 clinical trials totally damaged through the birth tunnels, through other effects, what we call mentally handicapped, what we call totally autistic. And these children, in next year or two, you will see them on the street. They don't belong to the cages the way we do with the cattle in Holland. We bring a calf, we keep him in the cage till the day he dies, and we take him out of the cage. That's how these children would have been their life to come, walking around the institutes, not knowing where they are, who they are. Now they're a man, now they're a girl. And when I saw the first pictures, they're all standing and playing on the floor with each other. We didn't have this a year and a half ago. We're changing man through the soul, and man gets puzzled by the physicality. They can talk or they can walk. And this is the beauty of the new technology. This video is made, and very soon we release it. And then you will see where the change comes. And to me, the whole humanity is in that orphanage, in those beds. And gradually, we're trying to move from the world leaders themselves in these cages, from the religious leaders in these cages, to allow them to walk and become joyful that they can serve through their souls, not with the gunpowder and falsely books that they have promoted to justify their superiority. And you will see it, and it's amazing how they tell us it has to have numbers. Isolated orphanage, 100 children, mentally handicapped, autistic, and everything else, as you call them, and now become the man of the world. I would like to see how we will follow them when they become fathers, when they become pillars of the society in the time to come, because they've been there, they know the other side, and they can help others. We send man of this planet to become the ambassadors in other places to world peace. They become the ambassadors to teach other orphanages in Washington, in Paris, in New York, how there could be no child in orphanages in what I call cow cages. And then we'll see what happens. We see how the changes come. And this is the purpose. It is not just all to go. What we do here counts. And I am waiting for what I call one of the stages of this development in the next few months with a new technology which is now introduced in the orphanage to show from zero to hero of the same soul. How the soul being nothing in a cage to becoming a man who can walk out, who can be there. I've done this many times. Now it's the first time we see it. When we did the first time in Europe, a boy of totally autistic, handicapped in a wheelchair, in 9 months, and the following year, he goes swimming on his own, he goes to a normal school. Now we do it in mass. But we elevate the soul and the physicality. Through the soul of the physicality changes the man to become what I call a survivor of space. I hope I answered you the question, but soon you will see this video, because we have a video of the first time, the pictures of it, and you see the interim and maybe another interim in about 3 months. And I thank the knowledge seekers and the developers of the technology in Iran who allows us to enter the second phase of the change for these children. And maybe out of the 100, we will not be able to touch immediately. Maybe I reckon about 5 of them or 10 of the 100. The rest will change their lives. They'll become man in the society. And then we have to teach them the ways of living in the society. They had no fathers, they had no mothers. So knowledge seekers become the pillars of them to learn. And hopefully we take them in the factories and this short Keshwar mission to become part of the society. where we change the soul and we nourish the soul within the structure of the Keshe Foundation in organizations we set up in the coming time as they grow to go to the next steps of development, as they have to leave the orphanage. Keshe Foundation will bring them in as a man of the world in our factories, in running our factories, in developing new technologies, because they've seen things we haven't seen, and they can teach us what needs to be done to speed it up because they experienced it. It's the good times ahead. And whenever I look at the atrocities of the past 2-3 weeks I've come across to now, I look at this video and I said there is still a hope for the man. There's still hope to change the murdered leaders of our nations in a state and other states to become the true man of peace. But it's very sudden to see these things, but it's joyful to see that we can, for the first time, make the change. Not by injections, not by nothing else, but by elevation of the soul. Thank you very much, Azajon. And I'm sure Iran knowledge seekers are dying to get this video released, but it's not the time for it yet. A few more weeks when we'll see more changes, that we understand how we touch the soul and it changes the physicality.
Thanks to you, Mr. Kesh. Thanks to you for all you have done, because if it wasn't for you, we couldn't have done it. Thank you for that.
Oh, it's all of us. We are doing it collectively. Thank you very much. As I said, the knowledge seekers are right across this planet, from government ministers to laymen on the street, and we're all doing it in our part to share the knowledge and change it. And it works, except for those who have different, what I call, clandestine activities and aims and targets. Any other question?
Okay, we have a question from Jared in the YouTube, who says, I have 2 questions. First, when polarity changes of a plasma, does the magnetical field become a gravitational field and the gravitational field become a magnetical field?
The thing is, every gravitational field has a magnetical field with it. The switching comes as the same field, but they change direction. Part of the change of polarity of the plasma is not that the fields totally rotate to the other position, is the switching between the magnetic and gravitational field of the same thing. If you go back to the, what we call the knowledge seekers teaching in the past, where we show that every magnetic field have a gravitational field. If you look at the iron dust around the magnets, you see the space gap. Those space gaps are gravitational fields which are coming to add to become stronger from the lower to attract more. This will explain in the future, because it's a very complicated but very simple, and I have taught it before. Then we teach it into the process of transmutation and transportation. This is a part of the knowledge which we would like to open up, but mankind is not ready for this. Mankind's knowledge has been trapped in this process of transmutation and transportation, of movement of the field, and is for us to, in so many ways, explain it, but it's very hard due to the false and lack of understanding of the past to bring it to light. You have the magnetical field force. You have gravitational field forces. As we said, it's the same field in circles. Yeah? But if you go back to the iron dust, there is space gap here between your iron dust fields, as I call it. If you remember, you've seen it, and it's the same with your other end, where you have magnetical fields coming out too, in between. Go back by the law of the physics of the plasma. If you are coming in here, it means you carry a stronger field. And the plasma field of the Earth center is weaker. So you add to it. But you have a flow of the fields which, what I call, are going in. And again, another stronger field feeding the weaker. We feed one visual gravitational body called the South Pole. We feed one gravitational from the space cap too. So the center continuously receives fields from both directions. Not the assumption of what we thought is magnetical, all going in the same direction. So when this field reaches a saturity point of the field strength according to its environment of what I call balanced fields, all it does is switches over. And in that switch over, it's become magnetical. But with the same strength fields. It's the same as what I say, you can make a CO2 with copper and zinc with the difference of the carbon, or you can make a CO2 with two different metals if you achieve the same GaNs CO2 magnetic field balance. So in a way, your CO2s are the same, but different field strength according to what material you use or what salt you use. The same is here. Different strengths come in and the links up and become magnetical. The same thing with the gravitational on the other end. Then you understand. The switching over saturation point is something I've spoken before. Now, maybe for the first time you understand how it happens. The totality mixes and it comes out more powerful. And it's the same process because you're continuously feeding two systems and then you're mixing it. If you look at it, you have a plasma which is getting fed all the time. And in that process, it creates new, stronger that it goes out. But if you look at it, in a way, it's two-way traffic. The ones which are going this way and the ones which are coming this way. And in the process of the dynamic plasma of the center of the Earth, they, like the light we see on the interaction of the fields of the Earth, the inertial plasma of the center of the planet creates new lights, which some of it in the center are the strength field of the other fields. And so they come back stronger as we see. And depends in the direction of the flow of it. This direction of flow is very important. But in the present, what we call world of science, they have only thought of this. That's why where our confusion is. Because again, we are materialistic. When we look at the magnet and the magnetic dust, we always looked at the shape of the line of the dust. We never considered what's in between, separation of them, which is the field which goes in, that's why it creates separation. And once the scientists understand this, then you can know and you will understand how field changes. It doesn't actually change, it's a residual change. If you go into the center of the Earth, it's as shiny, bright as what we have on the planet Earth, on the surface, because it's where the fields get mixed up. And the magma is part of that process of slowing down the fields, that when they get to the center, they come off the right order for the gravitational field, the strength of this planet at this position and time in the universe. And what is more stronger is reflected out, and we see those fields of the gravity and magnetic of the same process. Knowledge is very deep. Understanding it is a little bit hard. Any other question? Or the second part of the question?
Okay, you did want the second part. Well, the second part is here it says, if two things had the same color, does that mean they have the same strength? Did you hear the question, Mr. Cash?
Yes, I couldn't unmute because when
Oh.
you read questions, I mute. I couldn't get the screen to unmute. Not necessarily, but partially, yes.
So how do you mean partially yes? I'm curious
You
because
see, we create a light, exactly to what I was just explaining. You create a light, that red color, through the gravitational field, or do you create it on the magnetical field? You understand? It could be the red both, but as we say in a physics term, on what shift? You understand? The red in a gravitational is very different than the red in magnetic. This is a process of the understanding of the knowledge of the physics.
is that like the idea of reflected light versus emitted light?
It's not reflected, it's a true light. It's a true light. But gravitational red is different than a magnetic red. When you come to see the transmutation system, what the knowledge MOSIC has done, what is done in the lab, we have fixed two lights on it. I think it's blue and green or blue and white, one of the two, or sorry, red and blue. When the transmutation system is sending an object from one to another, one side, the blue light is on, which means they're transmitting, they're sending their field energy. The other unit is on the red, which means it's receiving gravitational fields. The same system is switched through a specific combination that then you receive the package and then you want to take something out of it and send the package back empty in a way or something else in it. Now the system which was red becomes blue and the system which was blue becomes red, becomes a transmitter and receiver. Now you understand how deeply we have developed this technology. We can even tell you the colors which is used on the balls of the transmutation. Now you understand the technology is very deep. And as I said, you will see it in the Linz Exhibition Center. That you will know which unit is transmitting and which unit is receiving. And there is no wire connection. We understand the process, and this how come the light changes from blue to red or red to blue. The new transmutation technologies works on understanding of this part. In respect of what could be the containment. A dollar note is a dollar note if you roll it, put it in a box, flatten it, put it in an envelope, or put it in a box of water and sending it through. What is received at the end is a dollar. So it's the same. The box you don't look at. The process of transmutation of field of strength in a given strength you look at. In one of the researches in the past few days, we have seen through the enhancement unit, direct evolution between the soul, energy of the soul and the soul of physicality, and the reaction of the soul of physicality accepting the emotion of the soul. It's very interesting. observing these kind of developments and researches. And then you see which way, what is moving in which direction. And then would the physicality accept that change? It's the biggest dynamic. That's the inertia which has to change if we want it. It's the same with the cancer. If the soul of the physicality and soul of the man reach agreement, but the inertia of the field decides, no, I want to create my own way, you get the conflict and you get the cancer. But can we elevate it? Can we change it? Can we bring it? Again, it has to be acceptable by both in the term of condition of the situation. It's like, if you give me the ice cream, I stay. I don't receive ice cream, I don't feel happy, I go. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh. I'll remind our attendees here they can put up their virtual hands in the Zoom chat and we can allow you to speak. There's a couple more questions. Let's see here. From Dynamic Soul in YouTube. How do we understand to match with the inertia strength of a distant planet if we have not been there before?
Can you repeat that? It's hard. Sometimes my screen doesn't drop to see the microphone open. Can you repeat it again, please?
Yes. From Dynamic Soul, who asks, how do we understand to match with the inertia strength of a distant planet if we have not been there before?
Your soul decides. You will understand. Now you have to understand the emotion of the soul, not the language of the soul. Does the soul feel happy? You want to go, but it says, I don't have the energy to manifest in this place. Choose somewhere else, you know. There's no space in this car park, go to another level, as we call it. Yeah, because it doesn't match. Or he feels the energy receives from the soul of the planet is better not to be there, even though I like to be there, but the soul does not allow you. It's just like a mother not letting a child touch the fire. But in essence, then the knowledge is carried by the dimension of the soul of totality. This is why mankind is joining the universal community, not the earth community. This is the community which has all the knowledge. Nowadays, you go on a computer and you Google it and see what knowledge the others have achieved. Yeah, I want to go to this restaurant. You tap it in. Oh, how many stars it's got? What services are there? Is it good for me? Or do they have what I like to go to? But that knowledge in the computer of the soul is universal knowledge. You don't need to tap on it. It's freely available. Then you decide. You've got to learn a lot. Mankind has a huge transformation to go through. From the dimension of physicality to accept the soul, and then in that soul is already graduate from every university in the universe. Any other question?
A couple of questions in the Q&A here. One from Salamia, who asks, on the same time we have in Romania a video conference concerning the price of gas and electricity. May I give them our solution for heating and electricity bill reduction?
You can do what you like, if they listen. It's a different matter. Any other question?
Dan has a question in the Q&A. There's a picture that goes with it that I'll have to bring up here.
Rick, have you received the latest video from the studio in past few minutes?
The one with the household reactor?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to show that, and I'd like to get your comments on it, actually.
Yeah, this is the first production from the Keshe Foundation Studios in Linz. It's a good trial, and then you will see more of and more participation by knowledge seekers to develop the functionality and the work of the systems and the technologies which we have. Would you like to share it?
Okay.
This is the first production out from our studios and work of KFTV, and hopefully it will start going. The television station hopefully will be completely operational. It's operational now, but completely operational within the next week or two, hopefully before opening of the, what we call the opening day.
Okay, I'm having this behind.
This time, when we open the Keshe Foundation Center in Linz, as we say, we will start with Razzmatazz. You join us at one of the beautiful jazz orchestras in Austria will join us for the opening for the 2 days. And it'll be a fantastic time to celebrate the beginning of a new life. Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much. If you go back one frame, if you can bring the last frame on, you will see a new logo configuration and a new name appears on Keshe Foundation. Keshe Foundation has separated its arm of sales promotion away from the Keshe Foundation Austria and internationally. We work on the registered company of Keshe Foundation Sales, which again allows us to internationally market the Keshe Foundation in a totally different way as an independent company, as we structure the whole Keshe Foundation worldwide. Keshe Foundation Sales carries its own logo with its own new sales logo as part of, and cannot be, it's a copyrighted and cannot be used. This puts away from the people who use and copy KFSSI. This is a what we call copyright. And please do not copy it, because we start taking legal actions against all those who abuse the Keshe Foundation name and logos. And this way, this separates us from the work of the past, and we promote a new sales structure worldwide. That is separated from the sales, research is separated from the manufacturing, and as we see, every structure of the KFSSI within it is separated, and it'll become part of the what we call the work of the foundation. We have restructured the whole of the foundation worldwide, and it follows the same system. And you will see new features, and we allow each nation, each country to be joined, to be part of the work of the Keshe Foundation. Thank you very much, Rick. Now you had a comment about this, you said.
No, just wanted to get your comments on the use of this machine, basically, and how do you see that people would utilize it? Where would it be most applicable?
When you put two of them, two different mixtures in the room, you will feel it. It's a dynamic system. When you place it as it is instead of the center unit, is your soul. We used to promote, if you remember, the dynamic system. This has a different application because it creates a field deviation. There's a reason for it. It has a motor inside it, which behaves like an inertial system. And the beauty of it is this distribution of the field. You can put GANS 1 in one and GANS 2 in the other, and see the field, feel the conversion, and in a way to spread it around the house and being in one jar. And you can move it. You can put one upstairs, one downstairs to connect the fields to cover the house. And so it's understanding the technology, not looking at the machine. And set up the triangle as a star formation around the house with the same process. The fields interacts with the field of the fan, which is running behind it. And how the field distribution comes into it. The structure is the same, and you understand how the matter state and the plasma states were interacting together with the body of the man. This is one of the useful, extremely useful, what I call soul elevation systems, if you understand how to use it, how to load it, because it touches both. It has a parameter of physicality, and it's very much like the fields of the sun and fields of the earth in what they create. And it's one of the most effective systems we have. We can bring the two dimensions together, but you have to understand it to be able to appreciate the beauty of it. There's very few systems I really enjoy sometimes to see, and this is one of them because I know the potential of what it can be done with it and what capabilities has. You're told the new virus is in today. You just change the combination, you refill your tank. Today you want to feel happy. Today you invite somebody in the family which is always aggressive. You don't need to do, it's just a fan running. You touch their soul and the physicality at the same time. You have a mother-in-law which every time comes is very All the red lights are hands in pockets and shaky. Keep the mother-in-law for a few hours and let these fans run in 2-3 positions in that. You might find the mother-in-law thinks you're the bestest rice bed since you ever had any. You have to understand the technology and how you can use it. And this gives that dimension. So it's the same as the air fan unit, the enhancement air unit. People who understand it, when you received it, you have another piece with it. If you understand how to use this, you create an amazing environment in the house. We don't put anything out which is not for the benefit of the soul and physicality. Anything you buy from Keshe Foundation has a depth of purpose in it. I look at a lot of them, and if you understand how to use them, especially, for example, when you buy a pillow and then you buy a eye mask, wear them together and see what you get. When you buy air enhancement unit and you buy one of these, run them and see how they affect you. And don't put everything accidentally. It's there because you're done. I was in a teaching yesterday with the Farsi. I just happened, I had no plan to go in Farsi teaching. And I was around Dr. Hassan and Dr. Barakpur over there, and Hassan apparently at the beginning of the teaching said, I might be coming in, Mr. Keshe might come in. I had no plan, and I went in, and they said, oh, we told you to come today. I said, you haven't realized, you didn't think, you invited the soul heard, and he loved to be with you, and he came. The physicality is just a process. We have to start trusting in what our soul brings us. And don't put it, oh, it happened. Oh, accident. There's no accident. You wished it. And it was there. The wish was sincere. And the souls made the arrangement to be there. And the more we understand this, the more say, okay, next time I wish, I don't want a burger, and then see if it turns up. I wish to give joy to someone. I hope they receive it. And it's amazing. I had that pleasure in the past few days with one of knowledge seekers. I wanted to give him everything, but he had to accept it. And when there were changes, I always didn't say, oh, it changed. I said, he accepted. The soul understood. And it's pleasure. And when the soul goes away, he doesn't want to go. So he brings the things back that call me back. I want to come. I don't want to go. Because I found the peace, I found the truth, I want to be there. And the physicality causes that problem for the physicality to bring it back, though it should be so. We'll see the knowledge seekers very soon. Because I get the answer, but I can't explain it to them. Because it's where I feel home, where I belong, where I love to be part of. It's not accident and coincidence. Any other question? This is a beautiful product, and you can see it. You fill in the emotion, and then you let it interact with the physicality. This thing it's very interesting, has a matter state motor magnet in the back. It has a field dynamic spread of the air, and it has a plasma field, which part of it becomes matter state and becomes part of the wind. And then it interacts with the fields of the magnet in the back motor. It's amazing to see it. When I see this one, I say, if the knowledge seekers know what to do with this, it'll be an amazing thing to know. But we'll see.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Try to learn to use the products in conjunction with each other, not separately, and see what changes will bring for you.
Well, speaking of other products, there's a couple of questions regarding fungus and about the fungus GAN. So let's, Dan has a question here in the Q&A. I think he's brought this question in before and perhaps a different way. So let me bring up his picture so we can have a look at what he's talking about. So he's got a picture here that he sent me, and he's the question in the Q&A is, just let me read a bit about. This is in salt water where I collected the amino acid from the cup of life 2, plus my CNOH hair that I have on the surface. I have on the surface like mold, but inside there are several structures. And he mentions the question is, who decided the manifestation of a soul in salt water and the amino acid in the cup of the second life? I sent the photo to Rick in the Telegram. I have the CNOH wire connection from my hair that I created the cup and the interaction of the environment where I live and hold the cup. So the question would be, who decided the manifestation of a soul in the salt water? I guess he's asking.
So if you are the
where it came
creator of it, if you are the creator of it, if you set it up with the intention, you set it up, you become the participant in it. But the interaction with the other fields of the water or the environment, which the cup is, decide the rest of it. You are the sperm, the rest is the egg.
Well, what about, oh, sorry, go ahead.
When you have a child born, a soul created, you bring an egg and a sperm. When you create these systems, partially is your soul interactions, your baby. And the rest of it is the what I call the egg of the universe or the environment which is there. What you put together to be there, and plus what is there without you having any say in it. If the cat licked the cup before you fill it up, but you didn't see it, and you get a different gas when you pull it, that saliva of the dog on the cup still has an effect on the soul you have created.
Exactly. So in the case of fungus, for example, if there's...
Cup, but the dog can lick.
Yes, but in the case of fungus, we have these invisible, microbes around us, or energy packets, you could say. And if they accidentally are landing in some way in the environment that they enjoy, maybe that's the case here. Like, how do we...
This is not a fungus. This is another plasma creation, very much like a cloud. Creating fungus on GANs materials, unless it's a very specific condition, which you create amino acid base of it, which is on the surface of these containers usually, is very, very difficult. It becomes what I call funguses, which are beyond, and they are usually, it depends what you call a fungus. Fungus is physical matter energy existence. And then if you define it that way, you will see how you give it the shape of the physicality. If you look at the structure of the funguses, it gives you a lot of knowledge, information about the life of that structure and the energy around it. When you see, for example, funguses on the nails, for example, you see strips getting cut or waves created, how the field energy will go on the nail. If you see funguses as a mushroom, why do they have that umbrella effect, like what I call a nuclear bomb? If you look at the mushrooms around the world, the shape of the mushroom gives you a lot of knowledge about the environment, field forces, which are available for production of it. What do we get as well? Knowledge says mushroom, small tiny mushrooms the day after the rain in the field. And if you understand what I call the Hiroshima bomb, if you look at the structure of it, the mushroom, why does it have a shape of the mushroom? We know. Energy field transfer, because it's mainly is a field dynamic interaction. When I look at the mushroom, I look at it from the nuclear interaction physics, field energies, and they are there are mysterious fields with the dimension of the strength of the same, and it's amazing how this planet can replicate this from billions and billions of mushrooms every day. And how it changes, how we get specific mushrooms in a specific time, condition, and in the same area. What does it create that absorbs the energy field, and only that way it manifests itself. You call it the dust of the mushrooms spreading and they grow in other places, but you have to create a field difference interaction. And why do the mushrooms have this shape? Any other question?
We do have Salamia with a hand up here and several questions in the Q&A, but first from Mendel in the Q&A, a further question about the fungus GANs. Is it important for the GANs to have the amino acids of the copper in it to work? Says, I tried this some time ago with medium results. I'll try it with more salt in it, 15%, is that correct?
We can add amino acid and salt to it. We can work better or less, but you have to understand the mixture we put out is not what you call copper oxide only. Secondly, it is a specific mixture, very, very specific mixture, and it's taken years of developing it. We make everything look simple, and it's one of the biggest problem with knowledge seekers, because you have a physical meter structure. The minute they see the green color, they say, "Oh, it has to have," because it's going to interact with the flesh of the animal on the wall, with the fungus, which has got a protein base. You have to have that, and they think, "Oh, because it this, it works." You try and see if it does. Understanding the technology, understanding the application and involvement of materials in it. And as I said before, we used to be very free with giving knowledge and people. Now the Keshe Foundation uses the knowledge to expand, spreading the knowledge by developing and providing technologies and knowledges. These gases we released in the past few months, just because you see always blue or red does not mean, oh, I know what they use. Try. See how you create and what you create. It will never happen. There's a lot of, these are mixtures of different kind of gases, different kind of even materials and other things in the system. As I said, we carry arsenals of knowledges and technologies, and when it's needed, now we're going directly around is there. And you will see it. Those people, if, for example, you use some of the gas in the process while you are cleaning the fungus, you have a different result than just the water. And this is all part of understanding. You have a corner of the house which forever gets black with mushrooms, black fungus on the wallpaper. And test it and see how it does. You have a fungus on the furniture you can't get rid of. Test it and see what it does. And other surfaces and places. Anywhere which you see creation of a fungus, this material by its water and sometimes by a little bit of its own content to it will bring changes. And if you have a long-term fungus conditions on the surface or whatever, you need to repeat it. It says on the manual 2-3 times a day for a term till you deplete the environment of the energy. And you see it will never happen again, and it grows back to normality. You have to understand the difference between the characteristic of the body. Just as we always say, as we say in Farsi, whoever got a mustache is not your uncle. Just because you see a green there, oh, why not? Try, see. You might have a limited success, but this is what we see and what it has achieved. And we want to see how further we can learn to add or change to it. You have to remember a very interesting research. If you remember a few years ago, we showed it, that what they developed for a certain illness in America, they never tested on the black skin. And when it came to the black skin, the men had the bigger lips on the top, and women had the bigger lips on the bottom, if I remember correctly, or vice versa. But it had no effect on the white skin. The black pigmentation created even sexuality change in behavior of the skin. We've got to understand the knowledge in a deeper way. When you use these gases, write to us what happened to the fungus, how it washed away, or how it changed. If you use the total water or some of the small amount of the gas each time on the affected area of the fungus, and did it appear? You use it in the bathrooms, you see this yellow mildew fungus. If you use this, will it come back? If before it took a week, if now it takes 3 weeks or 4 weeks, or when the energy balance goes on, you can bring the others in. This, what we put out, allows us to extend the knowledge into the enhancement units. It's not just that we put a product out to do something. It allows us to understand more that in the future structures, we can use these things directly. As I said, with the new system coming out, because we tested in before, we want to see what happened. People will bring what I call a burn unit, most probably after Christmas. We are too busy with other things. If you bring somebody from a fire with burn, we just put them in this machine, and we expect them within 2 or 3 days, doesn't matter what degree of burn, to walk away with no scars. We've done it before, it's not something we hope to. Now we translate it into the machine system, that it can be replicated anywhere. When you go to a hospital, maybe soon next year or two, they have a Keshe Foundation burn unit. You just put you in there, doesn't matter what degree of burn you have, you won't feel any pain. The healing will be very rapid, and you walk out with no scars. We've done it. It's not something we're going to. It's done it. Now we are commercializing it in a way you have to be. Most probably around about 500,000 a system we put in every hospital, and it's something every hospital would need one. Because burning is something that every hospital sees hundreds of a year. And burn scars are really, some of them damages people for life, and mentally, psychologically, depends where they are. And he can walk in and walk out.
Here we have a quick question from Daniela in the YouTube. An Italian knowledge seeker asks, does the vision unit improve the optic nerve?
We work with the soul. What improves is depends on the physicality, what you don't want to see. It's very interesting. It is now marketed as $250,000. The first series has already been sold, and we don't advertise it in public yet, but the vision units are more or less on sale. It's not on the website. This is not the one. No, it's an enhancement unit. It's totally different thing, and it is. We think is one of the most popular enhancement units, will be used forever. There is 48 of these allocated for Arizona. And we think there will be fully busy people all over the United States will go to use it. The range of products is increasing gradually, steadily, but on a quick basis.
Okay. Perhaps we can address questions from Salamia, and we have Ed as well with a hand up here. Could you go ahead, Salamia? See, you have several questions in the Q&A. Perhaps you can ask a question or two personally. You might be having.
Okay,
Oh,
I can
there you go.
I had a problem. Hello, with my. I think that free dynamic plasma from star formation is free energy, as far I understood. The amino acid, the results of star configuration contain free energy. How can we convert it in physicality and use it? Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Read 2 or 3 chapters in book number 3, you should be understanding it. Very simple. Conversion of energy to manifestation of matter state. If you read the last 2 or 3 chapters of book number 3, and then immediately read the first 2 or 3 chapters of book number 1, you will see the connection between the two and how it can be done. Because end of one is the beginning of the other. Or read the first 2 or 3 chapters of the book 1, and then go and read the last 2 or 3 chapters of book 3. Then you understand exactly what it needs to be done if you want something which energy in what direction.
Thank you. I already did from the first book, but I didn't start the third book. I am studying the second book now.
When you get to the third book, you might understand.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any other question? Or shall we call it a day?
Well, there's a couple of things. One thing I'd like to show briefly is how the Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit finished in the competition. Maybe we
what
can
happened to you?
just say about that.
Did you win the thing? Are you holding the prize or me?
Well, we're still. That's a good
You got
question.
a prize, but you don't know yet what it is or when you're gonna get it.
Yeah, well,
You got to
what
open
it
up.
is.
We don't see it.
Oh yeah,
Just
I have to actually
blue.
share differently. Just a second here.
Da, da, da. Da, da, da. While you're trying to find this, we are in the process. Now that we see while you're finding this one, that this is to do with NASA, Keshe Foundation in different direction has started the process of negotiating with NASA scientists to meet at the Arizona Center in the coming weeks. We'll meet the scientists from NASA and American space agencies and Chinese in Linz in a very short time, and plan out the collaboration between the Keshe Foundation and others in a very open way. If you read the disclosures at Mark Ray in the section, we have already preset this arrangement that we have to transfer technology according through the Keshe Foundation to Mark Ray. And this is one of the purpose of it, to share with the American space agencies and American government in the pre-agreed intellectual right transfer, which this brings us a totally different dimension with working with NASA as an American organization, and all teachings and development will be shared in Arizona. Carry on.
Okay, so yes, this is a NASA design contest. It's an annual contest produced by Tech Briefs, which is a NASA periodical about new innovations in the technology sector. It's called Create the Future Design Contest, and this was the Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit was entered into the contest a couple of months ago, and there's the popular vote part of the contest is just ended, and we got 386 views. And if we have a look at that, that places us in the number 2 position among the top 10 leaders in the votes for this contest, which is fantastic. And it was interesting in the last few minutes of the votes closing when the deadline came up. These other 2 things, the innovative bed design thingy here, and the other one, the India's first smart self-sterilizing face mask, their views, their votes actually increased quite rapidly at the end, in spite of our attempts to also increase the votes. And they went right by the Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit, which put us in 4th positions instead of 2nd. So that's the way the contest ended on the popular vote part, was in 4th position. And I thought, well, gee, that's good, but I was kind of disappointed that it had dropped down in the last few minutes of the contest. But it turns out that some of the votes that came through from the others were invalidated. They had some voter fraud going on, apparently. So we ended up back in the 2nd position, and that was very nice. So that's fantastic. And if we look at the number of page views, it's interesting that the unit has 10,789 views, which is by far more views than anything else in the entire competition. The next unit is 7,000 compared to the 10,000 plus, and then it drops down into 5,000, 4,000, and so on, down quite rapidly. So we have an enormous amount of support, and to me, the people have spoken.
We had a lot of knowledge seekers who could not vote, could not understand the system.
Yeah, and
many of them was returned. A lot of votes of the Iranian knowledge seekers was voided, or they were not taken out.
They may not have allowed votes from certain countries, or the entry form didn't accommodate somehow. And if you didn't fill out every single part of the form, then it would invalidate the entry. Yeah.
So I'm sure it's not just us; other participants must have had the same. But we know from the knowledge seekers in different countries, a lot of them tried to vote, but the system kicked them out. So in fact, we don't know what the true figures is. And we know a large number of Iranian votes were not accepted. So this is not the true figure, but we'll see. Most probably a lot of other knowledge seekers tried to participate, but one way or another is not. This is normal.
Well, it's interesting. Go ahead, sorry.
As I said, we are used to American fraud voting system from the presidential to NASA, so it's a normal system.
Probably the Dominion running this voting machine. But the good news is that the voting part, the popular vote from the public, is just the first part of the contest, and the actual winners of the contest are determined by the panel of 24.
Yeah. You got to understand.
Judges.
Sorry about that. If the judges are told to not take Keshe Foundation design, or a number of them, you can never do. We've seen this when we were nominated for a Nobel Prize. We turned over the scientists. They were told the Iranian nuclear physicists cannot receive a Nobel Prize, and they sent the taxi driver and the plumber.
I think if I was a scientist, Mr. Keshe, in that position, and they told me don't look at this. That would be the first thing I want to look at.
No,
Find
one
all
of the-
about it, because why are they telling me not to look at this? It looks really nice. How
Yeah.
come they don't want it to, you'd want to find out. At least some
I think-
people would.
Yeah, I think two of the professors who resigned their position will one day come and speak because we have their communication. One of the professors who was appointed for assessing the Nobel Prize resigned from his position because he said this is not correct. And we'll see it. The beauty of this, like 9/11, now they opened the book this week from FBI and we know exactly who was behind it and how it was set up and how it was looked and who knew what. And then the Americans for years brought it to be the Iranians that put billions of dollars of damages on it, fake. We've seen the same thing in the courts in Belgium, and now we've seen it with this and the Nobel Prize. This is the thing now that we have gradually coming to understanding with the American government, and we reached a peace position. They'll open the book, how things were done deliberately, how it was orchestrated even with when we took Markray over 3 years ago, that the White House had to interfere. You hear clicking?
Yeah, it's not me.
Yeah, somebody in the background is not happy.
Yeah.
But we'll see it. This is, I hope you win. I hope you, not to win, but I hope you voted the right way. And this is one of the ways that we will see how it will come. Don't forget, NASA is anti-Keshe Foundation, totally. As you know, 10 years, one of the reasons we opened the Keshe Foundation Forum, and in the beginning we used to participate in the discussion because DARPA had enforced NASA to close the participation in the Keshe Foundation in discussion groups of the NASA. And I was told a week before, DARPA is pushing us to close your communication with NASA. It's not in our head. But on the other hand, they sit in this teaching and they try to copy it. The NASA scientists have a huge problem in NASA trying to understand, to bring the Keshe Foundation technology into it. And they can't do anything with it because they can't claim anything, even they're getting the result with they're successful using the new technology, but to say the technology has come from another source. It is very interesting how knowledge seekers in different parts of the world will bring the technologies out which they have brought out and mistaken. It's the first time in the recent past that one of the leading nations in the world, through official channels of the government, has come to Keshe Foundation and has asked the foundation that this knowledge seeker is bringing your technology to us. Can you please ratify that is yours? And he has to come through you. I was very surprised to see this from one of the leading nations on this planet in past few weeks. One of the knowledge seekers went to promote his technology and openly saying it's a Keshe Foundation technology. And government officials came to Keshe Foundation as a whole and asked us that, can you bring this, check this technology and bring it to us through Keshe Foundation, not through individual. Which is very surprising how things are changing. And we respect the honesty of the government because they tried everything. And now knowledge seekers who go to say they have something, and in a way it was from the honesty of the knowledge seekers saying, this is the Keshe Foundation technology. They came to us, can you handle this and bring it to us? And now we are working to get it to cooperate, and then hopefully for the next steps of the work with the government. I love this enhancement unit. We see it every day in the exhibition center. The new enhancement units have lost the front end. the ones which are now going for a space technology, space lift and motion. We have taken the front end off. You just have the back end, the ball, as you call it. And it's very interesting. It actually looks like an aircraft with a side door walking in. It doesn't open up because we have to keep the what you call field compression inside. We'll release the pictures of the new enhancement units in coming time. And it's reduced, I think, by about 1 meter in length. Those of you who come to the exhibition center, you see a new control system for the enhancement units. And hopefully you will see the new enhancement units have no power supply. If we use for lighting or something, we use outside, but for the system itself is freestanding system.
Okay, just a couple more items, Mr. Kesh. I know we're getting where we need to shut down here very shortly. There was to get a little bit of it. Pardon me?
Oh, yeah.
It should be okay there now. I'd like to get a little more information on this the second Beyond Books International Virtual Multidisciplinary Research Conference on September 24th to 26th, coming up here. It's from Athens, Greece, but I understand it's virtual. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I see the topic is a new era in space technology.
We gave a talk to this group, this conference, I think in Manila in Philippines a few months ago. And I think this is the second one. And we are opening the eye of the scientists around the world. This is done by our Keshe Foundation Knowledge Seekers collaborators in Greece. They're very active, and this is part of the work they are trying to bring the new technology to be understood by the Greek government and Greek officials and the others. As you've seen, the collaboration are same with the same group, with the new teachings to become part of the what we call curriculum of the Greek teaching in the schools. The first session with the collaboration of the number of knowledge seekers has already been completed. I have to do part of the work. I don't get a chance, but it will be submitted as part of the teaching and the curriculum in Greece. And this is part of that process to introduce the technology internationally. And it's again a effort of the knowledge seekers. We try to collaborate with as many knowledge seekers in different ways for different applications. And this is one of them.
Okay, perhaps you could take one more question, Mr. Kesh. We have someone new here, I believe. Irmgard has a hand up, and perhaps Irmgard, could you, if that's the way you pronounce your name, could you go ahead and say where you're from as well?
I am in the United States, and I just woke up, so I haven't heard the rest of this yet, so I have to listen to the recording. But I'm one that has one of the units on order, and I have talked to our city about potential space for a center, but I need to know who to talk to about where the centers are going to be and how this all is organized. I don't have a good connection with anyone.
You have to speak to John. John is responsible for whole of the operation in US.
Okay, and I contact him? How?
Yes, speak to John in Arizona. He is.
Yes.
Keshe Foundation Arizona is the center for all operations in United States with the enhancement units and American continent, more or less.
Yep. How do I contact him the best way?
I'll get John to contact you. I'll ask John. We'll organize it from the Keshe Foundation head office in Austria. We'll put you in touch with each other.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other question?
We have one more from Freed, perhaps you can address, which is, thank you, Mr. Keshe, for today's unraveling of the secrets of the Creator. What then is the best way to overcome the daily struggles that we may still have in the physical universe, like the difficulty to cope with environmental influences in the form of poison or concentrated energies as 5G or similar? Are the butterflies, the new ganses, and other products this help to ease the physicality to eventually elevate the soul?
These are part of the tools we show you for you to find a way. Many knowledge seekers are developing new technologies to do it in a much more different way that is more convenient to them. The beauty of this technology, as I said, even in this teaching today, you take from this knowledge according to your understanding of what you expect from it and what you want it to do with it. We have shown you the new GANS product for cleaning water. In a short time, Keshe Foundation in the past has shown you how to create the air enhancement units for viruses. We in Tehran, hopefully next week or two, we show to the government a way we can clean the atmosphere of Tehran, which is highly polluted. The system is developed by the knowledge seekers in China and now has arrived in Tehran. And then what do we get from it? What are we going to do with all these gases we produce? We dump it in the water. We wash the streets with it. We change the environment. This is all part of the same structure. What you want and what you understand from it, and how you want it, and how is affected your understanding. Don't copycat. Put some of your knowledge in it. Put some of your feeling in it. You don't need to be a professor to come up with the new ideas. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. The rocket scientists now have no job. They're out of job. And they're still celebrating this, what they call narrowness of the mind. Yesterday I was watching, just by accident, I came across it, that the South Korea has shown they are the seventh nation that have achieved to be able to launch a missile from under the water. And then we hear the North Koreans in retaliation have shown another thing, another rocket. And I laughed, my God, is this the advancement in technology? You don't know we can silence this in their silos? Why don't the Americans teach them? Tell them that the Iranian technology took our base out. What are you wasting your time for? We couldn't even launch a single rocket. It's understanding the news, as I call it. If you read the news in past few days, we hear President Biden not only has left Afghanistan, he has withdrawn all the missile protection system from Saudi Arabia. Why? Because he knows if attacked, he cannot defend. And then they say, what happened to the technology of Iran, America, which is supposed to protect the, what do you call it, all the Scud missiles and the rest of it, which are supposed to be there. Before you get embarrassed, you move out. And then what does this do? The Saudis spend $100 million to the Israelis to bring a defense technology which is not working because they shown it, they couldn't penetrate their defense system. Now the American has gone, what does it do? It forces the arrogance of the Saudis to step down, and then it forces a condition of peace because they know they cannot do what they did. Why would they? You have to understand how to interpret the knowledge and the information. It has brought a new dimension. And we see the wisdom of the Iranian leadership. Just because the Americans have just moved out all their protection from Saudi Arabia, which were there to protect them, put there by Trump and the rest of it, they didn't immediately go and attack Saudi. Now they don't have defense. No, they meet the Saudis. Let's talk peace. Now we can talk peace. It's amazing how they keep on telling you the hardline Iran new leader. He is a hardliner for peace. When you understand the background of his work, the way you see it, we haven't heard a single rhetoric of word. He is a hardliner. President Raisi, His Excellency, is a hardliner, but he's a hardliner for peace through knowledge. To the enforcing the knowledge we have, we can do what. But just because the Saudis have now, they lose their defense from Americans, now we're going to go for them? No, we started dialogue. Let's talk. And this is the beauty of the peace talk. This is the beauty of the wisdom of the Iranian new leadership in politics with President Raisi and His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, man of peace. We've shown the strength. Once in Iraq last year, we wiped you out, you couldn't even missile back. Now we sit back, let's talk peace, let's open the channels of talk and do. You will see massive, rapid development in peace talks and withdrawal of the sanctions in the coming weeks. Yes, and I said, I have a lot of respect for the new administration in Iran. We are hardliners, but we are hardliners for peace. And we don't abuse the knowledge we have just because we can. And we'll see more and more of these. We will see much more dialogue in a very direct line and dialogue in a way of the peace talks. Even, as I said to our people, we should become negotiator for peace between the China and Americans because we are positioned well in that diplomacy. The Americans want to sell more products of their country to Iran, and Iran has just signed a $400 billion contract, the biggest contract ever in the world with Iran in the oil industry. And the Americans want part of it. BP wants part of it. You want part of it? Let's talk peace between the Chinese that share everything with the Americans and the rest. And this is what we learned. These are called true peace dividend. A lot of people, a lot of European American news wanted to show, oh, there's another big problem coming up. But in past 2 weeks of leadership with Iran and His Excellency President Raisi, we see nothing but more steps towards peace. Because we are not talking rhetorics, we are talking to deliver, to bring what we call prosperity to a nation. We expect opening of the embassies within the next few months. And back to normality and more talk about how to develop technologies, jointly fly to moon, bring the scientists together. And as I said, we expect to be in Washington very short time. Very, very short time. Because the grounds for peace has been created. It's the first time in Iran administration, the leadership and the government and the Sepah work on one way, which is a peaceful way. And we see it. We will see huge developments. And we need to use this position. And we need to facilitate, as I said to the head of the Keshe Foundation Arizona in past few days. Biden moves, we respond. Biden withdrew the American missile protection on Saudis to stop the war now in Yemen very soon, the way we wanted it to be correct. We responded. We deliver 48 enhancement vision unit directly into America simultaneously with Tehran. We couldn't do more than this, transferring technology piece by piece. But we have to understand it. And as I said, if you go into a new publication, Keshe Foundation has signed itself into American companies to transfer technology, and we're getting paid for it. It's not done by pleasure. This way, when you pay it, you respect it. When it's given, you have no respect for it. And we'll see more. We'll see the wishes of the Universal Council to achieve peace. What we call fundamental peace is on its way. and us in the Keshe Foundation, abiding the wishes of the Universal Council. We facilitate their wishes and we support their wishes. And we informed our leaders the same. This is a handshake of peace. The arrival of the new vision technology in the premises of the Keshe Foundation Arizona to be transferred to US at the same time with the Chinese move in the last week. We start talking peace and we're transferring technologies to support more, to show a new dimension. And this is the wisdom of all your knowledge seekers, it's the wishes of you. And we are just the tools to deliver your wishes. Thank you very much for today. I hope we understood a little more what is the purpose, and we have completed the circle from the beginning to the end and end to the beginning. And maybe some of you for the first time see the light, the true light of knowledge. Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you for your relentless support and being there all the time. Hopefully we see you next week, and we'll see what news we'll have next.
Yes, next week will be 399. That's quite a amazing number of workshops over the past years, Mr. Keshe, and we've both been here for each one of those, regardless of what national holiday it's been. And we've been there for every national holiday in every country of the world, I think.
As you know, this week is Yom Kippur. We honor and respect the tradition of Moses. And now they're celebrating the new year this week. And it's amazing how, as you said, we've been in every celebration of every religion, doesn't matter Christmas, the new year, or whatever of each one. As we say, shalom to all the Jewish community, and new year for you, and become a peaceful new year between your nation and the rest of the world, and especially with your own citizens, to become at peace with yourselves and transfer that into the knowledge of peace with the rest of the nations amongst the united nation of one nation, one planet, one race. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for another amazing Knowledge Seekers Workshop, the 398th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, September 16th, 2021. I'm going to play a few messages from the KF store to end today's program. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. And we look forward to seeing you next week for any of the public presentations. The One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace is coming up on Tuesday of next week at the 8 p.m. Central European Time. No, sorry, that's at the 4 p.m. Central European Time time frame. And the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group as well after the following day. Okay, let's engage into the